Then let's begin. Do you share my madness? I once thirsted for knowledge. Renounce your ambitions, they will bring you aught but misery. Frankenstein, by Mary Shelley. Our Creator loves us eternally, and to him all praise and glory belong. Against him we are powerless, and he alone is to be feared. But what if none of this were so? What if we were an experiment, created not out of love, but curiosity? What if we were abandoned to raise ourselves? What if our Creator despised us, even feared us? What if, against him, we were greater? The story of Frankenstein gives us a glimpse into how this unpleasant reality might look. I, Victor Frankenstein, was born in Geneva, and in time my parents were to have William, my junior by 7 years. As I grew, I studied the writings of ancient alchemists, as the elixir of life. What glory if I could banish disease from the human frame! And yet my mother soon passed of the scarlet fever, an omen of my future misery. The pursuit of life became my sole occupation. A new creature would bless me as its creator. Ha! He is complete! Yes! Ha! It worked! It worked! All of my effort! It worked! Yes! It worked! Oh, it worked! What have I endeavored to form? Oh, mummy again endowed animation could not be so hideous as this. Sleep fled from my eyes. I had committed deeds of mischief beyond description horrible. I wandered like an evil spirit, confined for several months. I shuddered at the thought to return, but I eventually resolved and decided to return. It was completely dark when I arrived, yet by the light of the cursed stars I could still judge the sight of misery that lay before me. I discovered my lovely brother, stretched on the grass, livid and motionless. William! Strangled! The print of the murderer's grasp is on his neck. No human could have made these black marks. This was all the work of my accursed hands.
Do you think, Creator, that I do not suffer also?
Filthy demon! Do you dare approach me? Do you not fear the fierce vengeance of my arm wrecked on your miserable head?
I expected this reception. All men hate the wretched, yet you, my Creator, detest and spurn me, thy creature. How dare you sport thus with life?
You are murdered!
You would not call it murder if you could destroy my frame, the work of your own hands. I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. Make me happy, and I shall again be virtuous. Listen to my tale. My first hours and days, I was helpless and miserable. I was tormented by hunger, thirst, and cold. The light was oppressive to me, and its glare wearied me as I walked. Longing for food and shelter, I wandered till I arrived at a village. How miraculous did these stately houses appear! But I hardly approached one before the children shrieked and the women fainted. The whole village was roused. Some took to flight, which surprised me. Others took to stones, which gave me grievous bruises. Fearfully, I escaped and took refuge in a low hut adjoined to a cottage. The floor was of dirt and the roof was low, but here it was dry. Here I retreated from the snow and rain, and still more from the barbarity of man. Through a tiny crevice, the small cottage room was visible. An old man sat near a small fire. A young man and woman were also there. I soon perceived that the old man was blind, but by degrees I made a still greater discovery. These divine possessed a method of communicating with articulate sounds. This was indeed a godlike science, and by great diligence I became acquainted with it. I then perceived that the family bore great poverty. This moved me greatly, for I had been consuming and stealing a part of their store, but when I found that this inflicted pain, I abstained. Having begun life with benevolent intentions, I thirsted for the moment when I should make myself useful. I found that the youth spent a great part of each day in collecting wood for the fire, so I took his tools in the night and brought home fire insufficient for several days. Nightly, I cleared away the snow and performed many invisible labors. These greatly astonished the cottagers, and I heard the words, good spirit and wonderful. I longed to join these gentle people,
but dared not. I spent the winter in this way. When they were unhappy, I felt depressed. When they rejoiced, I sympathized in their joys. I looked upon these lovely creatures as superior beings, and formed in my imagination 1,000 pictures of presenting myself to them and of their reception of me. I imagined they would be disgusted, until by my gentle demeanor and kind words, I should win their love. One day, the old man was alone in the cottage. This was my moment.
Who is there? Come in.
Pardon this intrusion. I am a traveler and want a little rest.
Enter, and I will try to relieve your wants. But as I am blind and my children are away, I am afraid I shall find it difficult to procure food for you.
Do not trouble yourself, my kind host. I have food. It is warmth and rest only that I need. I am in search of some long-lost friends whom I sincerely love, but I fear these amiable people will reject me. A fatal prejudice clouds their eyes. Where they ought to see a feeling and kind friend, they behold only a detestable monster.
That is indeed unfortunate, but can you not persuade them?
I'm about to undertake that task. Though I tenderly love these friends, they believe I wish to injure them.
That is indeed unfortunate. Where do these friends reside?
They're near this spot.
If you will confide to me the particulars, I may be of use in petitioning them. I am blind and cannot judge of your countenance, but your words persuade me that you are sincere.
Excellent man. I trust that by your aid I shall not be driven from the society I so ardently desire.
Heaven forbid, even if you are really criminal, for that could only drive a man to desperation.
How can I thank you, my kind host? From your lips first have I heard the voice of kindness.
My children approach. Perhaps with their help we may...
Save and protect me, I beg you. You and your family are the friends whom I seek. Do not desert me in my hour of need. Who can describe their horror and beholding? The young man, seeing my hideous form at the hand of his father, surged forward with supernatural speed. He dashed me to the ground and struck me violently. I could have torn him limb from limb, but my heart sank within me, and I fled. I declared everlasting war against mankind, and more than all, against him who formed me and sent me forth to this endless misery. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear. Soon after, I discovered your journal and the cloak I had taken from your laboratory. You minutely described every step of the whole detail of my accursed origin. I sickened as I read. Accursed creator, why did you form a monster so hideous that even you turned from me in disgust? I am alone and miserable. You must create a female for me with whom I can live, for this you alone can do. Do it, and I will leave mankind in peace. But if you refuse, I will glut them all of death until it be satiated with the blood of your remaining family. Do not refuse my request.
I do refuse it. Shall I create another like yourself, whose joint wickedness might desolate the world? Be gone!
What I ask of you is reasonable and moderate. I demand a creature of another sex, but as hideous as myself. Shall each man find a wife, and each beast have his mate, and I be alone? I am malicious because I am miserable. Oh, my creator, make me happy. I swear that if you grant my prayer, man shall never behold me again.
I will not form as a being of whom I am ignorant. She might become 10,000 times more malignant than you. Or she might delight for its own sake in murder and wretchedness. You may swear to disappear, but would she honor a pact made before her existence?
Do you dare to deny your duty?
I do deny it. Never will I create another like yourself, equal in deformity and wickedness.
Remember that I have power. I can make you so wretched that the light of day will be hateful to you. You are my creator, but I am your master. Obey!
Devil, cease! I have declared my resolution to you. Leave me!
I go. But remember, I too can create desolation. You are not invulnerable. I shall return on your wedding night.
I was left desolate. One by one, my family was snatched away. First, my brother William, and then my beloved bride. A few days later, my father, my only remaining family, died of sorrow in my arms.
Ha ha ha! Farewell, Frankenstein, miserable creator. I am satisfied. I have
suffered much, O miserable creator, but as long as you remain alive to suffer, I